power of sci-fi radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We would be honored if you would join us.
All right, it's another Thursday night, which means Docking Bay 94. Thanks for joining us here on sci-fi.radio, or on Facebook, or Twitch, or on YouTube, or wherever you happen to be checking it out. I'm Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby.
This is Jeff Donoho.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
And welcome aboard. It's been a busy week. Mostly with Disney stuff, because Disney had their big old convention this weekend.
Yeah, a ton of news came out of D23.
Totally.
And I found out at the last minute I had a ticket somebody could have given me.
Oh.
But I had... we already made arrangements to go to Rocket Fever over at the Columbia Memorial Space Center. So...
Exactly.
Hi to Talon Thorn and Freakin' Falcon Flyer.
Well.
Sounded like you said freaking Falcon Flyer.
Yes.
That freaking Falcon Flyer.
That is exactly what I said.
There you go.
Very cool.
That guy.
That dude.
Right.
So Jeff and I went to the Rocket Fever event. Star drove down in her Firefly truck from Fresno and crashed on an air mattress in our living room. And we were joined by Ray, who lives around the corner from me, who's got the Wedge NSX race car, which is pretty cool. So we had 4 cars. Tom Piedmont, who originally set us all up, didn't make it. He got an ear infection and got sick and couldn't come out, which was a bummer for sure. But we had a pretty good time. But it was so hot we didn't even get dressed in costume.
I think that's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Because you were all prepared for that.
We were. And Star had already dressed here, and she stayed in costume for about an hour. She was in her Browncoats costume, and that's really hefty. And then we were talking to the organizer for the event, and we're like, yeah, we'll go get dressed in costume in a little bit. He's like, nah, you brought the cars. That's okay.
Good enough.
And we're like, okay. Oh. So we just mostly, stayed in, whatever we were wearing, and that was fine.
Yeah.
Welcome to Budala and the Ladia 1066, or the Ladia 1066.
The Lady A?
Sure. The Lady A 1066.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know.
My well-known ability to not be able to pronounce anything. Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
I went to a dance on Sunday. The same dance practices that I go to. I go once a month. They occur twice a month. I usually go once a month. But so we do like between 4 and 6 dances, and then we have a break, and then we do another 4 or 6 dances. And we did the beginning ones, and they were harder than usual. And then we took our break, we came back, started dancing another dance, and my knee just started having pain. So if you're doing English country dance, you can't just go to your partner, oh, I think I will go sit down. Because if you stop dancing, it's like everyone else will crash into each other.
Yeah, it's like a train wreck.
Yeah. So we got to the end of the set where the dance isn't over yet, but you've danced all the way down the hall, and you're standing out waiting for... Did you just turn this up, Sean?
I turned you up.
Could you turn me down? Because I'm going to go deaf.
Okay.
Thank you. It was already too loud, and then you turned me up, and I'm like, I can't. I'm going to have to whisper. So my dance partner asked me if I was okay, and I'm like, I hurt my knee. And he said, now is the only time that you would be able to leave. So we sat out. And then my knee was feeling better, but I was afraid it would start hurting again. So I just went ahead and went home because I didn't want everybody to be mad at me for messing up the dance.
It's definitely a problem, and but I'm sorry you got hurt. I mean, that's like no fun at all.
It was just weird. Like, it randomly, I didn't feel like I had twisted it or anything like that. It just, suddenly there was pain.
Wow.
So, no idea, and it hasn't happened again, so hopefully, fingers crossed I didn't actually hurt myself. Everybody in the Twitch feed is talking about wanting milkshakes, and cut that out.
Yeah, that's rude. I have a cold brew cafe mocha that I put together that I usually have for the show. Yeah. It's as close to a milkshake as I get.
I've got
tonight.
water.
They're talking about
water shake.
A Sonic shakes and In-N-Out shakes. Now, I personally don't love In-N-Out shakes. Like, they're better than McDonald's shakes, but they're not.
They're still soft serve, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Jack in the Box has very good shakes. Fat Burger has pretty good shakes.
Oh my gosh. Jack in the Box has these Oreo cookie shakes that are so good. Budala is blaming it on the Twitch ad.
Right.
So,
That's what they said. It was a Sonic ad at the beginning.
Right.
You know
and
who?
Don came in and says Rising Moons.
You know who surprisingly has good shakes consistently? Arby's, which is not a place you would think of to go for shakes.
That's true.
And they always have really cool novelty flavors. Like they've got 50-50 bar, and they have a mint shake that is better than a Shamrock shake.
Wow.
Which is really good.
Hello.
Are you being attacked by a dog?
I
Jeff's
have a visitor.
Jeff's being attacked by a dog.
That's funny.
Hi, Po.
Jeff's just going to have to leave and the dog's going to take
Right.
over.
I'm going to put the headset on the dog.
Right. And Kelly and Lori, who are over on Facebook.
And some spammer. And then the other place that has a shake I like. I won't say it's a really good shake. It's just a shake I like. Is if you go to Rallies.
Yeah.
And Rallies, I think they're called Checkers, like east of the Mississippi or something. Rallies has a banana shake and a chocolate shake, and you can have them do a half and half and have a chocolate banana shake. And
I want a
that's
shake
really
now.
good.
I can't have a shake.
Yeah, so I guess I will go over to Twitch and deal with our spam-malicious.
No, I got it. I already did the ban hammer on it. If you look at it.
Oh, you did?
Sweet.
Oh,
Yes.
terrific. Okay,
Yep.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lame-o.
Going. Yeah. Poe wants to go downstairs and play with Ahsoka, but he's kind of stuck up here because Winnie's down there too. So
Just
something.
Poe just wants to
I think Ahsoka went to bed. And I don't know.
breathe on your keyboard, apparently.
Where's going? Well, I mean, he wants me to get up and take him downstairs. Is what he's doing.
I see.
So he's sitting here,
Throwing his weight around.
It's his little, yeah. He's so good at his
I like how he's just sort of a
indirect.
silhouette
There
in
we
the
go.
side of the camera.
Yeah.
Right. He's just like this
Uh-oh.
big lumpy
Yeah.
Hello.
thing.
He moved out of the camera.
Oh, and then he's gone.
And he moved his head because he probably heard something. He'll probably plop it back down in the picture.
Right.
again.
He'll be back soon.
So Don
Yeah, he
is
wants me to do
towing
something.
something to his new house.
Oh, he is?
Yes. 68 F100.
Wow.
Wow, 68.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Is that 1968?
Yeah,
An F100 is a truck?
it is.
Well,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, Ford F100.
But it's
It's a
sad that
Ford
it has to be towed.
F100.
Well, yeah. It actually, so Don was super cool and had asked and offered to tow a Studebaker down here for us.
Oh, that's nice.
And I may actually take him up on that offer. There's so the Muppet Car Project, of course, is a thing that we're working on, and there's
Yeah.
a 51 that would be a great donor for body parts for the car we already have, and would make us very happy to be able to merge the two cars together. But it's in San Diego, and we don't know how to tow it. All right, I am gonna put a picture up. This is
Don says he's the original owner.
Cool. Well, this is the model truck.
Is that the car, or is that? Okay.
It's not his exact one.
So it's a bump side.
Yeah, it's not his exact one. This is what I got when I searched for his year.
Nice.
And F100.
So is it a bump side with a short bed, Don, or a long bed, or what? He'll probably answer you eventually. Yeah. Some of them have a dip in the side instead of a bump on the side.
Right.
And then Oh, he said it's a long bed. Okay, so much like the picture you have, it's a long bed.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with this kind of truck.
Well, I mean, I certainly was when I was a kid. And then we had a...
Okay, so it's a white one. Yeah, okay. Nice.
We had a Datsun truck that was like indestructible.
Poe.
Pretty funny.
Dadgummit, Poe, knock it off. Ah!
You need like a spray bottle.
That's not going to help. No, I'm not. No, we're not going down. No.
You know, I had a similar discussion with my turtle before the show, who wanted to come over and hang out under my chair where it's going to get...
Yeah. Do they have... I wonder if his truck still has all the chrome and stuff. That's usually one of the first things to go. Chrome goes away.
Yeah, it does. And I'm looking I'm looking at a picture of one right now that is it also has like no chrome on it at all. And although it's
Don.
Someone was trying to sell it for $40,000. Is that a joke?
What, that blue one?
No, this one that I just... Oh, it's got a 5.0 twin turbo under the hood. That's why. I'm like, nobody...
Well, that, and they probably... Yeah. They might have, if they restored it, too. So, you know.
Yeah. So, just because we were...
Car jaunt.
We were talking about it being in white. Here is one.
Yeah, my friend Don... My friend Don, who used to live across the street where I currently live, he now lives out in Hemet or something. He has a white one with a short bed.
Oh, cool. Well, here's one in white.
So his looks like that. His looks like that. Yeah. But then, of course, I think he also chopped a hole in the hood so the engine could stick out and all sorts of weird stuff.
That's very popular. Yeah, that's really funny. Well, right on, Don. That's super cool. Now that Don's living within striking distance of Disneyland.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, should we start talking about Star Wars?
I think so. Was there anything else that we did?
Well, wait. Sean did something last night.
Oh, I did. I'm like, there is one more thing. So, Prop Store, which is a auction company for whom our friend works, actually. They're having a giant movie collectible
auction.
Yeah, which is nuts. And I'm gonna throw their little slideshow up over here on the video. But they have all sorts of oops, here we go. This one. Hello. There we go. They have all sorts of stuff. They got stuff from the Umbrella Academy and Scream and
what did they have from the Umbrella Academy?
They had on display one of the spacesuits. Which I think was number one spacesuit.
Yes.
And so they had a lot of. They have a whole Walking Dead auction coming up here, but and then this is a season 3, season 4 thing. But this is the one I think that I just looked at stuff from, and they had some really great stuff. Things from
they had the Necronomicon, dadgummit.
They did the Necronomicon. Star Wars pistols. I don't have my pictures uploaded yet. But yeah, all sorts of really interesting stuff from really interesting movies. And so they had the bat jet from the first Batman 1989 Batman movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let's see.
They're not helping, Poe.
It won't let me do a search. Oh well. Yeah, they had a whole bunch of alien stuff, which was really cool. And they've got like just
the original cowl. Jeez.
Yeah, various cowls and stuff. And I don't see the bat plane though up here, which is a bummer. But anyway, it was really fun. They had a nice reception, and we saw some cool things, and some of the stuff like makes me laugh. Like this is the Cousin It's baby. you can have Cousin It's baby, and it's only at like $1,500, which isn't too bad. Baron Munchausen. They had some Nightmare on Elm Street stuff, which was cool because I worked on Nightmare on Elm Street. And they had something kind of for everybody. If I can find our little thing here. Let me see if I can find our pictures. Here we go. So in my case, we had we had a Slimer costume. This was a costume that you were supposed to, you would wear it and you put your arms out, you operated the arms, and they had a mime or dancer inside, a female inside the.
Was that from the second one?
I'm not certain.
If it was the second one, then it was probably Robin Shelby. If it was the second one,
yeah, it was some drinking gag that they did.
Yeah.
So I have to look it up.
First one, maybe.
That's the wrong way. Here we go. They had this hat, which is a screen-matched Indiana Jones stunt hat from Temple of Doom. But what's really interesting is the crown on it isn't particularly high. It looks like one of the Stetson hats that they released, and just popped on his head and used it as a thing. And I couldn't get a look underneath the hat.
Yeah,
they might have it in their thing, in their catalog.
Gotcha.
Jack Sparrow.
Okay.
These were the things I picked out for Jeff because I figured he'd want Captain Jack's hat or the Indy hat. Those are like his. And then for Colleen, this is the Kate Winslet Titanic coat, which they had, which was really cool. And we were looking at it, and the buttons were all messed up. And our friend Megan is like, "Cover me." And she goes in and she fixes the buttons, and then she steps out and she looks around and she's like, "I work for the company. It's okay. Don't touch my stuff," which was really funny. Anyway, so this was picked out for Colleen, as was this. And it took Colleen a little while to figure out exactly what it is, because there's Flash Gordon stuff to the right.
Yeah, it was very hard to see on my phone.
Yeah, there's Top Gun stuff to the left. But this thing is the sword from Edge of Tomorrow. This is Emily Blunt's Angel of Verdun sword that was made out of a helicopter blade, which is like super cool. And Colleen like really loves that movie. And then for Kit,
Emily Blunt is badass.
Awesome,
right? And then for Kit, there were a lot of Star Wars weapons there, and so they had a bunch of lightsabers and stuff from both Episode 1 and Episode 3. Which is where this Anakin saber is on the right. There's a Stormtrooper rifle. And this gun down here on the left is really interesting. I've never seen it in person.
The hell?
This is the gun that Ponda Baba had in the cantina in Episode 4. So when he gets his arm cut off, basically you see this gun laying on the floor next to his arm, his severed arm.
Yeah.
And they had to change his hand midstream, because originally he had hands that looked like horses' hooves, but you can't hold a gun with those.
Yeah.
And so they ended up with giving them like monkey
Yeah.
hands or something like that. So anyway, it was really interesting. They had a lot of fascinating stuff on display. I'll probably write up a story for Sci-Fi.radio, which I'll have to do soon because the auction has already started. But it was great. And I saw a whole bunch of people from every walk of life. People I knew from Ghostbusters, from Star Wars, from Disneyland, from all over the place. My car club.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I got to go as a last-minute thing because I didn't get tickets, and then somebody's like, I got a spare. And so I went as a plus one for somebody, which was cool. Sorry, I'm trying to get these all organized here. Anyway, yeah, that was a lot of fun. And you can go to propstoreauction.com and look at the entire catalog because there's so much stuff. They had the shirt that Harrison Ford wore in Blade Runner, the multicolored one that was there.
Okay.
They had Chucky and his bride, full-scale dolls from the production. They had the axe and the coat that Jack Torrance wore from The Shining, which was really unusual because like you don't see a lot of Kubrick stuff come up. So yeah, it was really kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And then lots of.
I was like, Joe, freaking Evil Dead Necronomicon there. I was like, yeah, my God, there it is.
Right, which was really super amazing to kind of see some of that stuff in person. But and then of course the guest last night was John Delancey from Star Trek, among other things.
That's cool.
Who was Q in the original episode of The Next Generation. And that was very cool to see what he had to say mostly about acting and his process and things like that. And so, one of the other things they had, and they have more of this up there. They had a Star Wars holiday special sell of Boba Fett for auction.
Oh, okay, the cartoon. Okay.
And they also have the character sheet designs up there, which is super cool. So the character design for Luke and for Han,
cool,
from the holiday special, which is not a lot of people's favorite, but it's kind of cool.
The goofy Nelvana stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of a tempting thing because it's the holiday special, but they have a surprising amount of it, which is really kind of interesting.
Yeah, every now and then at conventions you can still find stuff from like Ewoks cartoon and droids,
Yeah.
So, should be able to find that too. Even the real Ghostbusters cartoon, you can still find sales for it. So at some conventions.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, now anything else?
I don't think so. I think that's about it.
I went to my sewing circle last night. Sean went to the prop store. I went sewing circle. Not as exciting.
Didn't you also go to a sewing circle on Tuesday?
Oh, you went to Disneyland.
Yeah.
You went to Disneyland and I went to sewing circle. Last night I went to the online sewing circle.
Oh, okay.
So I did.
I didn't mention Disneyland because I always go to Disneyland.
Well, what's funny was I forgot to bring my sewing kit. I brought my project no sewing kit when I went to the sewing circle, the in-person one. And so I ended up not trying to sew anything and just enjoyed the peach tart that our hostess MJ made.
Oh, okay.
It's really good. And then last night when we did the online sewing circle, I actually had like a whole bunch of emails I had to send. So the first half of it was me doing paperwork while people talked around me. And then the second half of it was actual sewing. So I sewed. Yay.
Ooh.
All right, Star Wars.
Oh, just a real quick thing to answer Frequent Falcon Flyer's question is that the that Slimer was from 1984, and
Okay.
it said a production-made drinking onion head puppet from Ghostbusters was made from latex casting without eye or mouth details, intended to be worn by a performer who would put their gloved arms through the armholes in the puppet. Features an alternate face sculpt created for a shot where Slimer drank wine or champagne out of a bottle.
Oh, okay.
They filmed it. There were
Yeah.
behind-the-scenes
Okay.
pictures, and it didn't make it into the movie. But it was,
Well, yeah, he did eventually drink some in the movie, but it must not have been that one.
yeah. So, because I do remember him drinking from
Yeah.
the table in the ballroom. But yeah, I don't know if they used that one for the gag or not.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where that came from. I would have taken that home.
Nice, nice,
It was
nice.
pretty epic. God knows where I would have put it, but
I would have been angry.
yes, yeah, well,
I'd have been like, okay, Slimer can come in, but Yoda has to go out.
right. No better than me having to go out.
Well, it's a close thing. Star Wars.
Star Wars. Yes, yes, it does. We have 2 birthdays for Star Wars. We have Poe getting in the screen again. We have August 10th, 1929. Peter Diamond. He was a stunt coordinator on the original trilogy. And boy, I would love to see what else I could look at my computer, but boy, it's not
There's a
easy
dog
right
in
now.
your way.
Yeah. So, other than that, he has 247 stunt credits. So it's not just Star Wars. I don't know, and my computer doesn't want to actually work. There we go. And also other genres and stuff like and such, and TV shows and movies. So he has, Alan Quartermain. Yeah, but he is.
Well, and he's
not
a
just Star Wars.
swordsman, right? Peter Diamond?
Yeah, swordsman and stuntman.
Yeah,
And
so
coordinator.
if I
For
remember
most things.
correctly, Peter Diamond was one of the guys who did The Princess Bride, and basically there were 2 swordsmen who each took one of the leads for Princess Bride,
Yeah.
and each taught them how to fight, and then put them together for choreography, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I'm blanking
Yep,
on the
stunt coordinator, and he actually did Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Holy smokes! How about that?
And then in Star Wars, of course, he was the Tusken Raider who attacked Luke. So he was the guy who was like,
Yeah.
"Arr, arr, arr, arr," in Star Wars.
Yeah. Exactly.
And what was the name?
Pretty cool.
Anderson. What was the name of the other sword master? Because he played Vader in Star Wars, and I can't remember. But both of those guys joined forces on Princess Bride to make them
Okay.
the best possible sword fighters they could be.
I mean, he was the stunt Vader,
Yeah.
or do you mean the actual actor? Okay.
No, he was the
don't
guy,
know, I'm-
but it was the other guy whose name I can't think of.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why Ken Anderson's popping in my head. I don't think that's right.
That's not right.
So
Bob, I think it's
Yeah.
Bob Anderson.
obviously, okay, probably.
Yeah, it's
Islander. Well, go
and
figure.
there's yeah. It's
But yeah. So he has a huge repertoire other than just Star Wars. Really, check it out. 247 movies. Good grief.
Yeah,
Man, he was busy.
absolutely amazing list of credits. That's nuts.
The next one is August 13th, 1932. John Berkey was born. John Berkey is, well, the Star Wars thing doesn't tell me squat. I have to look it up. Our sheet doesn't say anything. But he worked on I believe he worked on the original trilogy.
Yeah, he did prototype
such-
art
There it is.
and promotional art
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
for Star Wars. And the thing that's really funny is that a lot of
Yeah.
the stuff that he did were like thumbnail sketches to kind of like suss out what
Yeah.
maybe a movie poster was going to look like or whatever. and
Yeah.
his art wasn't quite finished, which was really
It's
interesting.
really wild looking.
But they
Like,
still
if you
used
got,
it.
Like if you got the DVD sets and everything, I think they included a lot of his art, like his little postcardy like things in there.
Yeah, and he also did the art for the Atari games, for Star Wars and for Return of the Jedi Death Star battle. That was like a Parker Brothers cartridge. But all of his art was so quick and dirty, and they have. Can I get this any bigger? Yeah, this is a little. I can probably
there we go.
get this bigger.
Yeah,
So
it
here
is, but it works.
here's a piece of art that he did that is meant as a piece of concept art. And so, like, if
Yeah.
you look too long at it, you see things like more than one Millennium Falcon and things like that. And it's like, what now? And so his art was this fast, loose style because it was never really meant to be reproduced. But the problem is there was such a demand for Star Wars merchandising that they went to it anyway, and they're like, oh, make this into a poster, make that into a poster. And so they ended up using his art like on the cover of the book when the book first came out, but it was like really vague kind of stuff.
Yeah. And the other, he did a lot of other work for like, there's, I guess there was a series of science fiction short stories, a series of books, the science fiction short stories called Star. Like there was Star 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Yeah, he did the covers for those. Less
Yeah.
quick and dirty for those.
And
They
he's-
look like he finished them.
He's super talented. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about that. But because these were meant as sketches, like if you look at this one,
Yeah.
Luke and Leia are really like quickly done, and Luke's got like here, I'll get us out of the way. He's got like a yellow lightsaber. Vader's got sort of a lightsaber that they never finished putting in there. All sorts of really kind of interesting stuff in there because it was just like, this is what I think a poster should look like.
Yeah.
As a piece of
this
concept
is really
art.
fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
I put a link to like a page that shows like a bunch of his other artwork. You can look at it in our show chat, not the
Yeah, I've got it.
our Facebook chat.
I was looking
Yeah.
for
And
his.
you see how like the detail in that it is all in the stuff that he did for like paperbacks and whatnot was like way more detailed. And so
Right.
they're like way more finished and detailed, like as opposed to the Star Wars ones, which he just like boom, get them done.
Well, and this is interesting too. So this is a piece of art that Berkey did that is owned by Vincent DeFate. Vincent DeFate did a whole bunch of books and things, and so it's interesting to see like who owns his art and that kind of stuff. The art
yeah.
that he did here is indicative of some of the books I had when I was a kid, where they would basically take like all
Yeah.
of these spaceship pieces of art and Peter Ellis and a whole bunch of people like that. Here's
Yeah.
the Star books that you were talking about.
Yeah. And like James White and all that. And so it's very. I guess he likes to do lots of ships.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people like to do hardware versus organic because it's easier. It's like it's hardware is like great to paint and to draw, and doing people
Yeah.
is so much harder than that. But yeah, I remember seeing a lot of this kind of stuff when I was a kid, and I had a book about spacecraft that was purported to be from a organization called the Terran Transit Authority, I think, and they would incorporate all of this work from a lot of different artists talking about a variety of spacecraft in the galaxy or whatever,
Yeah,
which was really cool. So
exactly.
yeah, super, super talented, and so much
Yeah.
better than the stuff he turned out for Star Wars because he got to finish it.
Yeah, I know. Jeez.
I mean, look at this from the
gave me more time.
1970s, and yeah, I mean, it's great stuff. And then you look at the stuff that they threw out there for Star Wars, and he kind of got ripped off. So
Yeah.
that's really all right. There's the man himself. Very cool.
There he is.
All
Yeah.
right. Neat to see some of his stuff because it really
Okay.
was like all over my childhood.
Yeah. Okay. The next part is the regular history. August 15th, 2008 is when the Clone Wars hit theaters.
Hmm.
When they jumbled a bunch of the episode stuff together, made a movie out of it, and threw it in theaters.
Yeah, I think I was at
Yeah.
NASA that weekend. I think they did a charity screening for the Ronald McDonald House in Houston, at Space Center Houston. I think that was the first
Gotcha.
trip I took out there to do that in 2008, and then did it for about 10 years. Neat.
August 12th, 2010, there was when Celebration 5 was in Florida.
Orlando. Nobody went to that.
That's where, yeah, I know. Weird. Nobody I know, man.
Right.
It's where I met everybody that's I am now.
I know. It's where
don't know.
it's where we ruined your life.
I know what the heck.
Gregor and me
Yeah.
and
The heck happened there?
all those people made your life awful.
It's terrible.
And August 14th, 2010, same year, same month, is when they did the last tour to Endor.
Yes. Well, and that's
So that
where
was-
we
I think
met.
that was officially where I met Sean. So.
Yeah. Yeah, we stood there and watched them, quote unquote, blow up Star Tours. And then we went
Yeah.
and messed with their podium. we were all
Yeah, they
in
left that out.
we were in
Yeah.
costume and we had the Yoda puppet and we put Yoda like on the pedestal like he was talking to everybody. He looked like he was president of the United States. It was very awesome. That was fun. That was a good day. And then we came back here and then we ended up doing some stuff for I think D23 where they made another announcement about closing it in at Disneyland because they shut them both down.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
where they made the transition from regular Star Tours with Captain Rex over to the 3D version where C-3PO pilots it now. And they made the ride film in
Yeah.
3D and they made all sorts of updates to it. And I can't say that they're not bad. I really like them.
I can't
Yeah.
say that they're not bad. You
Exactly.
can say that they're not bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
That
I
was-
can say that they're not bad.
Difficult to suss out.
Although I gotta say, and we'll talk a lot about D23 this weekend, but there was they did a special anniversary toy of the old Star Tours Star Speeder, the blue and white one that they
Yeah.
had before they shut it down and they redid everything, and man, it went like hotcakes. It was crazy. It was like $300, and it
Yeah.
came on a stand. It lit up. You could plug it into the wall to power it. It had 2 Captain Rex figures, one in a blister pack, one loose that you could put in the toy. Had an R2-D2, and when you take the roof off of it, it's got seating for like 20 action figures inside, and all the doors open and close. You can open the little door where they check to make sure all the seat belts are lit, are put in. You can
Yeah.
like open and close that, all that kind of stuff. But the piece de resistance, the best thing about it, is that there are a couple of buttons you can push that will play parts of the ride film.
That's
So
fun.
right behind Captain Rex, where the screen would be that you would see if you were sitting in it, it ran the ride film. Although somebody cornered me last night at this prop store thing. He said, "Hey, I saw you were talking about this thing online. Did you get one?" I said, "No." And he's like, "Well, maybe when they release it in the parks, they'll fix the mistakes." I'm like, the mistakes? What did they do wrong? He says, well, first off, some of the ride pieces of the ride film are out of order. I'm like, really? He says, yeah, they don't go in the proper order. They kind of messed that up. Like, okay, well, that's weird. What's the other problem? He says, well, the other problem is there's no music in the ride film. It has all the sound effects and stuff, but the Star Wars music isn't in there. And I'm like, that was weird. I'm wondering if they just didn't want to pay for that or what. And I have,
which is weird.
I have the other Star Speeder, which is the red and white one that they use right now. And I'll have to look and see if they use any of that, because it had some sound effects in it. It's not as cool as this. And I was going to take that one and paint it white and blue. That was the whole reason I bought it. But strangely, he says that the idea with the ride film is kind of messed up. And then the other thing he said that he thought was a fail was that the side screen where R2-D2 shows up doesn't do anything. It doesn't light up. It doesn't beep. It's just a little black rectangle. And that's a thing that needs to be fixed. I mean, even if they just had a little translate, a little slide in there that lit up for R2 whenever he was talking to R2, that would be okay too. But otherwise, when you play with this thing, the laser cannons fire, and when the ride film is going, strobe lights inside the cockpit of the toy go off. The way they do when you're in the actual ride. They have strobes that fire inside the ride thing. They really put a lot of thought into this. It's really super cool. And I was very bummed that there was like sort of no way to achieve one, because they sold 2,500 of them at D23. They had an additional 500 they put up on the Disney store online, and 50,000 people went to go buy all the exclusives from D23 when they put them up. And so people I know were like, oh yeah, I was like 52,000, I was like 47,000, I was like 36,000. Like most of the people I know didn't manage to score. One person who was particularly industrious logged in on their phone, tablet, and computer, and like their computer with the fastest connection got them like 30,000. The tablet got them like 11,000, and then I think the phone got them something like 7,000, and they managed to actually score what they wanted to get. It's really kind of interesting. Wow. But yeah, it was a big fail on Disney's part.
Justin got one. Justin Mulder with our rad group. He got one.
Wow, nice. Yeah, I think there's only one or two people.
He was at D23.
Oh well, if you were at D23, they were easy to get.
Yeah,
that wasn't the problem. Yeah, it was if you were trying to get them online, big fail.
Yeah.
Well, that's
They'll
more
all be on
reason
eBay
for
for
people to go
$5,000.
It's more reason for people to go to D23. That's why they had.
Yeah, that's true. The problem is that I bet you anything, most of them are up on
eBay.
Yeah, eBay.
Hello to Eric Gertz, who has entered the chat room.
Eric has entered the chat. That's really funny.
Sean, are you looking at eBay to see?
I am. I'm totally.
Oh no!
Totally looking it up just to see. $960 for one. Fewer than I expected. This one's $800. This one's $750 plus $60 shipping. $1,052. That ends in 8 minutes. Here's some moron selling it for $8,000. I don't even know why. Why is it $8,000? It doesn't say that there's anything special about it. I think that person's just horrifyingly greedy. But yeah, okay, there are more of them up here than I thought. $1,250, and then people have broken them apart. People are selling just the action figures, just the whatever, to try to make more money off it. People suck.
Well, on that note, let's talk about theme parks. D23 had an entire evening dedicated to new stuff at theme parks. And, gosh, there was a lot. The Disney Cruise Line is going to launch 4 new ships. Disney and Epic Games are collaborating on a lot of stuff.
Well, that's
Doctor Doom and Fortnite and just a ton of stuff.
yeah. Well, Epic Games, I think, are the ones that put out like Epic Mickey and stuff like that for them.
Star Wars, Marvel, Disney Animation, Pixar. So, a lot of stuff.
That's nuts.
There will be a new Monsters Inc. land at Hollywood Studios in Florida. There will be this one's depressing. There will be a new Cars land at Magic Kingdom in Florida, but in order to make room for the Cars land, because there's not a lot of room in Florida.
Right. They have no extra space at all in Florida.
They're taking out the Rivers of America
really
and
dumb.
the
Tom
steamship.
Sawyer's Island.
And Tom Sawyer's. Their Tom Sawyer's Island, to be fair, I don't think is very good. But I think it's harder that they're taking the steamship out.
Well,
It's
and
so
the biggest problem is that I mean, now they do have lots of water areas that they could relocate the steamship to. And I don't know. I mean, maybe they did a study and went, nobody goes to Tom Sawyer's Island over there or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But
Well, if you
go ahead, Jeff.
if you look at the map, if you look at the map, the concept art, big quotation marks, it looks like most of Frontierland's not even there. So I wonder if what they're actually doing is relocating everything behind Big Thunder as Frontierland and putting this other stuff in front of it. Like they're shifting everything around. But I don't know.
Well, it kind of
That's
sounds
what it
like
feels
they're like sort of diluting Frontierland as much as possible. So like they just turned their shooting gallery into a Disney Vacation Club lounge. They took out their really cool shooting gallery that they had. And I guess if people aren't using these things, I can kind of see why they would get rid of them. But honestly, Tom Sawyer's Island being an island made sense. But now what they're going to do is they're going to put like one Cars Land ride in where that all is. And that's going to be it. It's just going to be this one little island of Cars Land. That's, I mean, over here in DCA, we have a proper Radiator Springs. I mean, it's actually really great. It's one of the nicest things they put in at the Disneyland Resort in a long time. So
it would have made a lot more sense to put all that stuff behind Big Thunder and just leave Frontierland alone. Rivers.
Well, and they do own
space.
They do own a ridiculous quantity of land, and Walt Disney World has a tendency to abandon stuff and like let nature reclaim it. They've got a bunch of water parks and stuff like that basically are just being taken over by the landscape now. So I don't know. I don't get it.
They are also putting in a Villains Land in Florida at Magic Kingdom. And there will be 2 major attractions, dining and shopping, on an incredibly twisted grand scale.
Having mentioned this Villains Land really lit a fuse for people out here in California because they want to put in an Avatar Land here, and they're talking about it. They're going to do
one of the announcements.
Right. And the people that I've been seeing who are Disney fans on my Facebook feed are like, I don't want Avatar. Give us the Villains Land. It's like, I'm not interested in Avatar at all. And there are very few people defending an Avatar Land.
Animal Kingdom is getting something called Tropical Americas. They're also... Indiana
because
Jones
they don't
and
really have
Encanto.
South America represented.
Indiana Jones and Encanto confirmed for the Animal Kingdom.
Yeah. They don't. The Animal Kingdom doesn't have anything of the Americas represented, so that's what they're doing.
Got it.
So it sounds like I keep saying that they should put Casita here over where the Mexican restaurant is in Frontierland.
Yeah.
The Zocalo.
Zocalo.
And I think that it sounds like they're building Casita over in Animal Kingdom now.
Yeah.
Which
Most likely.
seems a little bit weird. But
They announced it, Jeff.
yeah, it's announced.
Well, yeah.
They specifically said that
it's
they're
because
doing Casita.
Yeah. They have a lot of jungle-like area they've already built up and stuff, so they'll probably just continue because that's pretty much what that what the film it takes place in anyway. It's basically it's this little town in the middle of a jungle. So
Yeah, it still seems a little weird to me.
It says that the space, it's not a casita, it's Pueblo Esperanza. And it's
okay.
an 11-acre section of the park with there's a large hacienda which will be a quick service restaurant, and it'll be one of the largest ones at the whole Disney World Resort. And there'll be a large fountain in the center where the villagers like to gather and tell stories. A wood-carved giant working carousel from Disney stories, and 2 signature attractions.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, aren't they going to
here's
just basically reclaim the dinosaur ride to make it Indiana Jones?
I was mistaken. They are having casita.
They are.
Yeah.
And there's concept art of it.
Yeah. Inside the casita, Antonio has just received his special gift, the ability to communicate with animals, and his room has transitioned into a rainforest. It's time to go explore alongside him, and you never know who you might bump into. Construction set to begin in 2027.
And it's going to be a trackless ride. And they expect it to be a lot like Mystic Manor.
Ooh, neat.
In Hong Kong. So
Gotcha.
There will
Cool
be an Avatar-themed destination at California Adventure.
Yeah.
This, they're probably, if I'm not mistaken, they're putting this where the parking lot for the hotel used to be, not for the...
Oh, the Pacific
what's
one?
now the
Whatever it is?
Pixar Pier.
right.
That parking lot that was for that and for Downtown Disney. They're probably building the new land over there.
Yeah.
They have, they're doing a Pandora ride. The guests will go on the adventure of a lifetime in search of majestic natural wonders that can only be found on Pandora, and the beauty and danger that come along with the journey. And basically, it's a boat about the size of Pirates of the Caribbean going through a jungle. Yeah.
Sounds like the ride they already have in Florida.
Probably. I've never been on it, so I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they are in Disneyland. They are redoing the Main Street Opera House, and they are temporarily taking out Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln and putting in a Walt Disney audio animatronic figure.
This is already causing all sorts of clapback on it, where apparently they asked Roy's side of the family and said, hey, do you mind if we do an audio animatronic of Walt? they didn't ask Walt's side of the family.
Oh, ouch.
So like Walt's granddaughter is
Exactly.
like, don't let them put Grandpa as an audio animatronic in Disneyland.
Yeah.
So there's some clapback on that, and then there's a lot of people who feel like swapping out Mr. Lincoln, which was one of Walt's favorite things, with an animatronic of Walt is sacrilege. So that's causing
Well, but they're
pushback.
not taking it out
Yeah.
because it says that Walt Disney A Magical Life will debut inside the Main Street Opera House, and after its initial run, so like 6 months or so,
Yeah.
I believe they said, the attraction will play in rotation with great moments with Mr. Lincoln.
Right. And so depending on what in rotation means, if they like take it out for 3 months and put the other thing in for 3 months, or if you can see one show of Walt and then the next show is Lincoln and the next show is Walt and the next one is Lincoln, depending on
That would
how
be
they
pretty
do
amazing
this.
if you do
I'm
that.
I'm showing a picture of this right now, and this this thing with Walt is on a revolve. And so if you look at the picture, there's a
Turntable.
revolve down there at the bottom, and they can rotate that out. And what I think they're going to do is make a scaled down version of Mr. Lincoln so that they can rotate these things back to back
That makes sense.
and do that. But, you know, again, that's a thing that's upsetting a lot of people because they're like, don't scale down Mr. Lincoln to put this thing in. And they're getting
well,
very
not
upset.
a lot of people go to Mr. Lincoln.
And that's true, and that's
Yeah.
that's a real problem. I mean, I kind of like this design where it looks a lot like
I
Walt's office at the studio.
Yeah, that's what they said in the announcement that it was supposed to be. Eric confirms that most people think that there would be a turntable. I
Well,
think
you
that's
can
a great
you can
idea,
see it in this
honestly.
picture. It's
Yeah.
in this picture that there's a turntable,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
And what is it that they're going to scale down? I mean, they're
well,
going to make the walls smaller?
there when you
Probably the everything on the sides.
Yeah, when you go see Mr. Lincoln, there's like a there's columns. There's a big structure that's around him. They've had other presidents who have been there.
They have?
They've done different things.
I don't remember there being other presidents.
I was.
I thought that was
I don't
just at
think
the
so,
Magic
but-
Kingdom.
Okay.
Florida.
I know they do in Florida for sure, but I
Well,
thought
yeah,
they
in
did
Florida,
here too.
it's the Hall
Yeah.
of Presidents,
And-
and it's like
But
20 of them.
I think that it'll be fine. But the biggest problem is people are like, what they're doing is they're culling through every thing that Walt ever recorded. He said he had on video all his introductions to the Disneyland TV show and the World of Disney and that kind of thing, and they're culling stuff from there. But that's also part of the argument that his family is making, is that like he's already represented by all of this stuff that he actually shot. Don't make him an audio animatronic figure. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know how much input the family actually has to Disneyland these days. I can't imagine it's much. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that would be distressing if I didn't feel happy about my grandfather being made into an animatronic. Although I think it would be kind
Yeah.
of cool.
well, and looking at the new
get to
state
visit him.
of the animatronic figures that they're doing, what they're doing with Tiana and they're doing with the stuff over in Tokyo with Frozen and that kind of thing, I think they could adequately create Walt Disney in a pretty realistic thing. The sculpt has to be top notch though, because everybody knows exactly what Walt looks like, and if they get it wrong, the uncanny valley factor is going to be really high. So they've got to absolutely nail it.
Yeah.
But they have so much footage of Walt from every single angle that honestly, they could probably convert that into 3D data and come up with a really accurate sculpt of Walt.
I think they could do pretty well.
Let me jump in here really quick. I'll remind you guys that you are listening to Docking Bay 94. We are currently on the air on sci-fi.radio. It's sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. Just type in sci-fi.radio in any browser and it will take you to our webpage where you can listen to this and other shows 24/7. You can also look at all sorts of news stories and trailers. We've got lots of information from D23 up there, among various other things like Worldcon and all of that kind of stuff. So do check that out. You could be watching us on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch. Any of those things, if there's a way to like or subscribe or do whatever, please do that. It lets us know that you've been hanging out with us. And we're always appreciative of that, and especially all you guys over in the chat. Kit does our show document for Control and stuff. We're always very grateful to her for doing that. And I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby.
This is Jeff Donoho.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
And thank you for joining us here tonight. We got another hour to go, so don't nobody go nowhere.
New Avengers experiences are coming to Shanghai Disneyland Resort, Hong Kong Disneyland. Disney California Adventure is doubling the Avengers campus size with 2 new attractions called Avengers Infinity Defense and Stark Flight Lab. And Deadpool crashed D23 to make the announcements. And apparently did a lot of crayon drawings.
Yeah. So we did. They were pretty amusing, actually.
So Shanghai Disneyland has a Spider-Man attraction, and it looks like a roller coaster. So the audience is sitting in a roller coaster type cars. And it says that Peter has gotten himself in a bit of a tight spot. We're going to follow him at very high speeds to get us out of trouble. Sounds kind of cool, even though I don't like roller coasters. Hong Kong Disneyland is expanding Stark Expo. And Tony Stark has invited his friend and new Stark Industries intern to showcase some new inventions. But the spider villains are there as well. So Spider-Man has to protect the new tech. At first I thought it was going to be like the one we have here, but this one looks like it has
Dr. Octopus?
Guy. Yeah, Dr.
Octo Guy. Octo Guy. That's really funny.
Disney California Adventures, the Avengers can jump between the worlds, and the technology for it has gone missing. King Thanos is using it to wreak havoc everywhere. Recruits will travel to iconic locations like Asgard, Wakanda, and New York City, alongside the likes of big and small heroes. You might find yourself face to face with King Thanos too. So this sounds like a Star Tours type ride.
Is this the one in California?
Yeah.
So, what looks like, and I've got the concept art up here too for it. It looks like you're in a ride car that's open, and they're projecting big screens around you. So, like more like soaring over California, where you're in a car, or actually kind of the Back to the Future ride was very much like this too. A lot of people aren't particularly impressed with this thing, and actually what's really interesting, they showed the ride car at D23, and somebody made the jump that one of the other theme parks has a ride car that looks exactly like it.
Really?
So it's not really identifying itself as being distinctive, which is really kind of a bummer, because that's what you feel like you sort of need to do.
So the other ride is the Tony Stark Flight Lab.
Here's the ride car, by the way.
Sorry.
Which is I don't remember what the other ride is at the other theme park, but apparently this looks about the same. Yeah.
Okay, so the Tony Stark, the Stark Flight Lab, as Eric says, it looks terrible. You're going to sit in a 2-person pod and deploy to a test station. Then a robot arm grabs your pod and starts whirling you around in a simulated flight. It looks really horrible.
Yeah.
I don't want to go on this.
That, yeah, that doesn't sound cool.
It's like you were in the teacups and they decided to grab you and spin you around or something.
Jeff and I, along with our Star Wars friends, used to go to Legoland to do Star Wars Weekend. And they had the Dragon Ride. And this sounds almost exactly like the Dragon Ride, where you basically sat in a little pod, and it was at the end of a robot arm, and they whipped you around. And this was outside, and it was over a water thing, and so it looked kind of threatening while they were doing that. But basically, I think it was just 2 seats at the end of a robot arm.
At the end of a robot arm. That is exactly what it is.
And
Maybe this is the one that people are saying is exactly like another park.
No, because it was the one we were just talking about.
Eric says that it's also like the Spider-Man ride at Universal Florida, but it is exactly what you said.
Right. And the Spider-Man ride Jeff and I did, and the Spider-Man ride is a lot like they do the same kind of things in Runaway Railway, where it's like, oh, we're sending you down, off of.
I sent you. I sent our Facebook chat again a video of a on ride thing for the, I think it's Shanghai China Avengers ride.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the exact same.
Okay.
Well, let me
a vehicle you ride in.
Let me get past the ad here, and I'll throw.
If it'll show it, I don't know if it'll show the outside of the car or not. Shows people loading in, but I don't know about the outside.
Okay. So this is the loading area, and I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. So this ride car, they don't really show you the outside of it.
Yeah, hopefully they, probably at the end but yeah.
This looks different than the ride car that they showed at D23 for this other ride.
Oh, okay.
Which had more people in it, and I'll have to do a little search and find out and see if I can figure out what the thing is. But I mean, this looks like just about every ride they're doing these days. I assume you have to wear 3D glasses because this is fuzzy as heck.
Yeah.
So, somebody's trying to video through their glasses.
Yeah, through the. Good luck.
Nice.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. It doesn't look super impressive.
Yeah, I don't know how old this is. It's like.
I don't know either. And it reminds me I mean, honestly, it's a lot like the Simpsons ride. It's a lot like Cartoon Spin. It's got like a lot of stuff going on. So.
There are things happening at Disneyland Paris as well. Disneyland Paris' second park, which was Hollywood Studios, is being renamed to Disney Adventure World. It has opened Avengers Campus, the worlds of Pixar. It will open the world of Frozen in 2026. And the Lion King will be a new area in the park, including dining, shopping, and a chance to meet some of your favorite characters. Then you can go to the caverns beneath Pride Rock, which will bring you alongside Simba's journey from cub to king. So that sounds like the Cinderella Castle walkthrough.
Yeah, kind of, I guess.
So it doesn't sound like they have a ride so much as an experience.
Interesting. I was talking about that ride at Legoland. Oh dear Lord. I'm trying to find one image, and like everybody's entire vacation pictures from Legoland are here. I just want to see one picture. Here we go. Let's try this. So this is what I was talking about at Legoland, where basically you are at the end of a robot arm, in a little two-seated pod. And this thing just sort of like whips you
Yeah.
around. And this is what I'm expecting Disney's Stark ride to be. And
Yeah.
it's a weird ride. We've done it.
Isn't
it's
that
weird.
the one where you can shoot people with water cannons?
Yeah, if you were up on the balcony that you
Yeah.
can see there, you can shoot water cannons at them. Yes. Yeah, which is really pretty funny. So, I don't know. I'm not optimistic about that. Maybe they'll impress us, but
Gotcha.
Disney California Adventure is getting a Coco attraction. It's a Coco ride. It's not just an attraction. It says that
Yeah.
Walt Disney Imagineering will draw inspiration for the attraction from beloved classics like Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean. We're bringing our skeletal cast of characters to life in a big way through the latest audio animatronics technology. So, it'll be like a ride through, and it's got some photos for this one that are big to look at.
okay.
Gotcha.
For which link is that? The
It is the one that says Coco attraction at Disney California Adventure.
in our show document?
Sorry, in the show document, it is all the news from the parks panel.
Oh, I see. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then you scroll down about
All right, let me see if
almost to the bottom.
I can find it. Oh, here it is. Okay. They have this sidebar that's really in the way, honestly.
But it very much looks like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's,
yeah.
You're sitting in a boat, you're riding through, looking at what's going on
It
around
looks like the same boat even.
Yeah.
Here, I'll lose us.
you. But they painted it.
Oh, sure, yeah. It's got a sugar skull on it instead of like a regular skull.
Yeah. It looks like different wooden little chairs in there to sit on.
But those look like actual people. And that was, sorry, the one that looked like actual people, I think that was the D23 event.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, there's just this one picture, I guess,
Yeah,
which does very much look like Pirates of the Caribbean.
it does.
And that's going into DCA?
DCA. Yep. Tiana's Bayou Adventure is opening November 15th at Disneyland.
Okay.
And we already have talked about that a ton.
We have. Yeah.
There.
Although the animatronics for her look really, really good.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so her articulation, they're using, I think it's called the A1000 model, and it's really fluid. It's really amazing. It's the stuff they're putting into Japan right now, and I'm really impressed with it.
Oh.
2 new lounges are coming to Disney World. A Pirates of the Caribbean lounge and a Spaceship Earth lounge.
And are these open to everybody, or Magic Key,
they
or
are bars.
Vacation?
They're bars.
Okay.
So I would imagine they're open to everybody.
Huh.
Wait, it says one of the lounges is inspired by Spaceship Earth,
Yeah, they're bars.
and the other is a tavern-themed Pirates of the Caribbean bar.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then the test track at Epcot, which I thought was closed. Is it closed or is it?
Well, I mean, it comes and goes. They shut it down.
Well,
and
they reimagined it, and in 2025 they're opening it again, and it
Okay.
is presented
well.
by Chevrolet. They are bringing new adventures in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
They are throwing their timeline out the window in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Yes. In 2026, Mando and Grogu have a new adventure on the horizon coming to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Join the Mandalorian and his youngling on brand new adventures coming to the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run in celebration of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
Right. So basically what they're doing is they are setting this up so that the ride film is now going to be you with the Mandalorian and with Grogu and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So on one hand, yay, new ride. On the other hand, it's really kind of putting a pin in the time frame that they set. I don't think we have yet seen the Millennium Falcon in the Mandalorian.
Isn't it sitting in a junkyard in the Mandalorian?
Universe? No, I don't know. That was episode 7.
Yeah, but it had to sit there for a long time.
Yeah, I don't know. So, but I think they're finally saying, yeah, we pigeonholed ourselves too much, and giving up on that.
The Lucasfilm team uses Epic's Unreal Engine to create some of the virtual sets for The Mandalorian. And they've expanded that partnership between Disney and Epic Games to use Epic's Unreal Engine for this new attraction.
Gotcha.
All right. The world of Frozen is coming to Disney Adventure World. And I think we just
this is Paris. This is at their
new park in Paris.
Hollywood Studios over there.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things, and I'm gonna throw up an image up here. Hang on, from a video that they've got. There we go. All right, so one of the things that's really interesting about this park going in, down in the bottom side you can see the studios that are there, their Hollywood studios and their Tower of Terror and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then the stuff that they're putting in is up along the top end. But you see all that green, all that grass that's there? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. That's where their version of Galaxy's Edge was supposed to go. And they're not mentioning that anymore. They're not talking about that anymore. Yeah, it really is a bummer because they were going to do like sort of an abbreviated version over there for the people in Europe. They don't get that at all anymore.
That's a bummer.
And it really kind of sucks.
Wow.
I feel really bad for them. Because it's like they were so looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Here's a little more about the land that they're putting together. And, I'm not saying that this isn't going to be great. I'm sure it'll be just fine. But I know a lot of people in Europe who are looking forward to having their own Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of a drag. But, we'll see. I'm sure this will be terrific. We did not go, Colleen and I, when we were in Paris, we did not go to this park. We focused solely on Disneyland. So, this is all new to us. But it's interesting, some of the stuff that they're showing over here with the, they've got like an animation pavilion, and they've got the stunt car ride and like all that kind of stuff that they're doing. And I guess trying to like flesh it out even more. It looks like it's going to be sort of their DCA stuff. So anyway.
And then the final thing they announced is that there will be a new nighttime spectacular parade at Disney World.
A spectacular?
Well, they're saying that it's going to be called Disney Starlight. It will continue the nighttime spectacular legacy started by the Main Street Electrical Parade, but using newer technology. And a couple of Broadway stars that are former Disneyland Entertainment cast members are coming back to do it.
Oh, interesting. I'm still...
Pardon me. The Broadway darlings announced it at D23. They're not coming back to D23.
I see. Okay.
I thought that was weird.
I was talking about the technology of the audio animatronics. This is still Paris. They're putting in a world of Frozen, This is an example of one of the newer animatronics that they're doing. And they're going to basically populate the entire land with these very elaborate animatronics. So you get a feeling like you're in Arendelle and whatever. But
Cool.
Yeet.
kind of interesting, yeah. They're kind of stepping up their game, which I appreciate. But we were talking about this in connection with Walt and the Walt Disney thing they're putting in the Opera House. I'm still not sure we're ready to see Walt Disney do that kind of thing. So
Yeah, I don't
I
really
think it'll be
want to see
okay.
that, actually.
it'll probably be great. I mean, they're not going to put anything out there that really sucks. I'm sure they'd pull the plug. It's going to be that crap.
I'm sure it'll be nifty looking and everything, but, with, Walt's side of the family not wanting it to be there.
Well, that's the biggest bummer, I think. And is it just
Yeah.
really? What are the real motivations behind it? Do they really not want to see an audio animatronic of Grandpa? Were they not consulted enough and they're feeling butthurt? Are they not getting paid? I mean, there can be a bajillion reasons for this.
And how many of the family?
I don't
Is
know.
it just one person?
I mean,
The
are
only
they
thing-
going to do this in Florida with Roy?
Right. I have only seen. Well, Roy was the one, I think, who made them name it Walt Disney World because he wanted Walt's name out there in front. It was just going to be Disney World. But I think that the only pushback I've seen thus far has been from one grandchild. Who is basically, I don't know if they're speaking for the entire family, but they're saying they're speaking for the entire family. And like, we don't want this. But, I don't know how much of that's really true.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, man.
The last bit of news that we have from Disney Parks is that the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree has released its menu. And it's pretty much what you'd expect. You can get ribs, you can get pulled pork, you can get a beef brisket sandwich, you can get a hamburger.
Beans and slaw.
They have a corn ribs plate, which are corn on the cob, but they cut the cob off. And they serve it with the slaw and the fries. So it's basically the vegetarian choice.
Spare ribs for kids as part of the kids' meal. That's interesting. Banana pudding.
The banana pudding looks good.
Bunch of
The funnel cake fries do not look good.
Okay, this kind of sounds like you, Colleen.
What?
Sparkling strawberry pickle lemonade.
Pickle lemonade is a big thing, and I've
this is
never
one thing.
tried it.
Yeah, it's a strawberry smoothie, lime, Sprite, pickle juice, and a pickle spear.
Yeah.
Non-alcoholic.
They've also got strawberry shortcake lemonade and lemonade iced tea. And then it's funny, they've got a novelty item. It's a jar.
It's a mason
It's
jar.
a mason jar.
Well, but if they have a specifically molded
It
thing
must
with
be
the
that you
country
just
bear in
can't
it.
see it, that it says Country Bear or Hungry
It's
Bear or
like
something
plastic.
on it.
yeah, and it looks like it's plastic.
It does.
Here, we're talking about
Yeah.
this. I should probably show you guys.
Maybe it's supposed to look like honey or something.
No,
I think those are ice cubes.
It's supposed to be old timey. Basically,
Oh.
if you go to any sort of barbecue place or an old timey place, they serve you drinks in
guess so.
mason jars. It's just what they do. But it's obviously plastic.
yeah.
It comes
Yeah, I
with a
know.
lid. And we'll see
Yeah, they
how
do that
it
at Johnny
really
Reb's.
goes. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Jinx.
I'll tell you this though. So I was at Disneyland with Judy and her son earlier in the week, and they like to stop for ice cream on the way out of the park, which I don't usually do. But I'm like, okay, great. So we go to the Gibson Girl, and they don't have the usual waffle cone bowl Dalmatian sundae that they usually have. I couldn't order it through the app, which was really a bummer. So I'm like, okay, I'll get a root beer float, which, I like a good root beer float.
Yeah.
And we used to get them at Disneyland all the time. And back in the day, they used to come in these cups. It's like a 22-ounce cup, And a little souvenir deal. It's got, Mickey and gang on one side.
We're
It's
nursing them along
got the
because
park
the
on-
paint is starting to come off.
Yeah, I remember
of
those.
These
Yeah.
things are 20 years old. These
Yeah.
cups,
Yeah.
and we're still using them, and they're still in reasonably decent shape. But I knew I wasn't going to get that when I got this. But what I did get was like the crappy kind of plastic water cup you get when you ask for a water cup. It had a domed lid, 1 scoop of ice cream, and warm root beer. And it's honestly the worst root beer float I can ever remember having. It was really terrible. From the Gibson
The hell?
Girl.
Where?
At the Gibson Girl
Oh.
ice cream place. And I'm like, look, I wasn't expecting anything fancy, but I did expect something that resembled a root beer float.
They must have just been out of something for the Dalmatian Sunday because it's still on the menu.
Yeah, you couldn't get it on the app though. You couldn't order it on the app as a
Right.
mobile thing, which
Bizarre.
is what we were doing. We were under the mistaken idea that my pass got a discount there, which it doesn't, apparently. So
What?
that was annoying too.
Huh.
Because it's like you're supposed to
damn
you're
bad.
supposed to get a discount at any place that's like a brick and mortar place, but not at a cart.
Yeah.
And
I think it's any place that's a snack you don't get a discount.
Apparently not.
because
Yeah.
the popcorn place in Galaxy's Edge is brick and mortar, and you don't get a discount there.
but you do get one at Ronto Roasters. So
Yeah, but that's not a snack. That's a meal.
okay,
Do you get one at the milk stand?
I don't think so.
And that's a snack. So that's probably what the distinction is. Okay. So Sean, are you ready to take the next section?
Yeah, I could do this. So we did lose a few people this week, unfortunately, and some today, which is really kind of crazy. We lost Mitzi McCall, was a comedian, and she was a sitcom writer. She was part of an early comedy team called McCall and Brill, and she passed away at the age of 93 in Burbank, born in 1930 in Pittsburgh. And she basically helped kind of break down the barriers for female comedy. She was on the Ed Sullivan Show, and in fact, not only was she on the Ed Sullivan Show with her husband doing an act, she was on the Ed Sullivan Show on the Beatles episode, where the Beatles made their debut in 1964, which was pretty crazy. And she did some stage stuff. She was a host for a kids show called Kitty Castle, and then she went on to do Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. She was on the TV series Life Goes On. She did Seinfeld, Roseanne, Dharma and Greg, and The Twilight Zone, and The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, and all that kind of, and lots of cartoon voices. I mean, she was just absolutely everywhere. So, and then she wrote stuff like 8 is Enough and One Day at a Time and Charles in Charge and Alf. Wrote a lot of sitcom scripts and things. So sad to hear of her passing. Rachel Lillis passed away at the age of 55. She was a cartoon voiceover actress, probably best known for being 2 of the big main female characters in Pokemon. She was Misty, and then she was part of Team Rocket, where she did the voice of Jessie. She's it was originally reported that she was like 46, which was like really weird. So there was a little mix-up in her age there, but she was 55. But of course, she was a staple at conventions and well-loved by the Pokemon community. Wallace Amos Jr. May or may not recognize his name, but you know his cookies. Famous Amos passed away at the age of 88. He passed away peacefully at home, which is great. And so he opened his first Famous Amos cookie shop here in Hollywood, California, on Sunset Boulevard in 1975. His cookies went ballistic. Everybody wanted Famous Amos cookies. and he was, his own best spokesman. He had a kazoo, and he would do his own commercials and do all this kind of stuff. And he was like a shining example of entrepreneurism, and like you could actually do this maybe. And actually, what was really interesting is I think he lost his own, like a stake in his own cookie company. I don't remember what happened. They like fired him from the board or something weird like that. And then
what the heck?
he came back with another brand and did it all over again. It's kind of nuts. At the age of 94, Gina Rowlands passed away. She was in The Notebook and a bunch of other stuff. Her son is Nick Cassavetes, and she had a long fight with Alzheimer's. Unfortunately, it was really a bummer. But anyway, she had a long career, and on top of that, she thought she was gonna completely retire after her husband passed away. 1989, changed her mind, got even busier, which was kind of nuts. So total survivor. Just today, we heard the news at the age of 75 that Greg Kinn passed away. If you play Grand Theft Auto, you might have heard his song, the breakup song, on the radio there in the game. But for us, he's probably best known as the writer of the song Jeopardy, which Weird Al had a really good success with. You lost on Jeopardy. And in fact, Greg was, he loved it. He loved his parody. Not only because, it kept his song at the forefront and it was funny, but he also used to get mailbox money from Weird Al Yankovic, and he's like, it's awesome. I can't believe it that it's like still going, which was really pretty fun. And so he released a whole bunch of albums that were all puns on his name as Kin, K-I-H-N. So he had Next of Kin, Rock Kin Roll, Continued, Kintagious, Rekindled. He was obviously a dork, and we love him for it. His music was good, and he was pretty cool. And then at the age of 98, Peter Marshall passed away. And Peter Marshall was the longtime host of Hollywood Squares. He was the one who set up everybody in the frame and just let them knock the jokes down. He was nominated for 19 Emmys. He won 5 of them, and he hosted more than 5,000 episodes of the Hollywood Squares. Absolutely insane. He changed his name to Peter Marshall because his birth name was Ralph Lacock, and he didn't think that sounded like a good Hollywood name. Used to be a DJ for Armed Forces Radio, and he acted in some movies like Annie and Ensign Pulver and some things like that. But of course, best known for doing stuff. Oh, and he also used to host big bands from Disneyland, which was really cool. Which is TV broadcasts of special music from Disneyland from the Carnation Gardens Pavilion, which is really cool. So 98 is freaking insane, and sad to hear of his passing, but holy cow, you can go on YouTube any day of the week and see new videos that people are posting with him hosting the Hollywood Squares and Paul Lynde cutting it up.
So when you were talking about Greg Kinn and you said he wrote Jeopardy, I thought you meant the theme music for Jeopardy.
Because that was Murph. Yeah.
Well, it was his wife. Or he gave the credit to his wife.
I think he gave the credit to his wife so he could make more money.
Because, and the reason why I knew that off the top of my head was that my dad told the story about how he was talking to Merv one day and Merv said, "Oh my gosh, I forgot that I left the music for Jeopardy in my ex-wife's name. I got to fix that. And they ended up changing the music because the old music was in his ex-wife's name.
Right.
He didn't want her getting more money.
Exactly. But at the time he did it, it was like sort of a tax shelter thing, so that he could
Weird.
he could get a little more money in there and not have any kind of conflict. Greg Kinn also used to be a radio host up in the Bay Area, and so he was working for a radio station that ended up cutting corners and squashing things down. And the weird thing was that the day they let him go at his radio station was the day he got inducted into the Bay Area Radio Hall of Fame.
Oh, man.
It's like, how rude is that, right? Anyway, Greg Kinn was a really, really great guy, and I'm glad we have his music. And just as a side note, this isn't exactly a rest in peace kind of thing, but it sort of is, because Jeff and I and Colleen, probably Kit, and a lot of other people, both here in California and around the country, used to listen to the Mark and Brian radio show, and it was on this day 12 years ago that they canceled the Mark and Brian radio show, which was in syndication around the country. We listened to it for about 20 years. I think I came in the very first week, and they used to assign listener numbers. In the very first week, I am listener number 12. Mark and Brian.
I am not.
Totally missed those guys. Colleen and I, we even went down to the studio. We let Brian ride around on our bike one day down at KLOS, which was really great. And of course, we saw the boys in other places. I did their talent show at Disneyland one year when Fantasmic opened in 1992. And anyway, that came up on my calendar today, and I think my heart broke just a little bit.
Jeff, what do you want to talk about? And just to let you guys know, I have highlighted or bolded the things that Sean promised we would talk about.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay. Something that was they showed at D23 that kind of worried a lot of people, and still I think it still kind of does. And I'm putting a link to the article about it in two of our show chats. It's from the Wrap, and it's because they're doing a Monsters Inc. land in the Disney Studio Park, whatever, in Florida. And the trouble is that supposedly, from the artwork and everything, it looks like in order to do that, they would be taking out Muppet Vision 3D.
Oh, bummer.
Which is like the last performance of Jim.
Yeah, it was the last project
So
Jim
that's
Henson
not
worked
cool.
on. They already took
Not
it out in
cool.
California Adventure, and they put the stupid Philhar Magic thing in. It's lame.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll put it
So
back in
I
California.
really hope they don't do that and they move it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, if they take it out there, they need to put it back in California. It needs to exist somewhere.
I know. Exactly, because I mean it's literally his last performance. I mean,
Yeah,
it
and
needs
like,
to be-
you
needs to
you
be
want to
seen
talk
and deserved.
about slamming Walt's legacy. How about Jim?
Yeah. Exactly. What the hell?
Right. Oh my gosh.
I want to talk about Taylor Swift. She had a scheduled tour stop in Venice, and people flew from all over the world to go to her concerts, and then there was a terrorist threat, and
I heard about that.
the venue decided, Taylor Swift didn't decide, the venue decided to cancel the shows. And so all of these people are already in Vienna. Oh, did I say
It was
Venice?
it was
It's
Vienna. I was just
sorry.
about to correct you.
They took to the streets, and thousands of people singing Taylor Swift songs all at the same time. The videos of this are really worth seeing if you haven't seen it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And I bet they were probably more together than we were last Life Day,
Right?
where people
It was-
could not make it work.
It was haunting. actually.
Oh,
boy.
I believe. Well, because
And-
they have no music, they have no whatever. They're like doing it all a cappella, right?
Yeah, all a cappella. And all of the shop owners, not all of the shop owners, I'm sure, but many of the shop owners in the area brought out like water and food for them to have as they were all standing around kind of mourning that they didn't get to go to this concert.
Well, and that's the
Gotcha.
Is it the same one or is it a second city that it happened to? Because her concerts were threatened by terrorism. They captured a couple of guys who were gonna.
Yeah, it was the same one.
Is it the same one?
Yeah, there
Okay.
were,
Oh,
I think
geez.
there were supposed to be 2 nights?
3 nights, I think.
3 nights, okay.
Yeah, and they found
Yeah.
a bunch of kids who were like 17, 18, 19 with bomb making
there were
materials.
3 concert nights that were canceled.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah. And they apparently arrested 2 local teenagers and canceled all 3 of the Austrian concerts.
Yeah, it's really kind of
Damn.
a bummer.
Yeah.
And
So there's a video in this Variety article,
Uh-huh.
Sean. I don't know, about a little less, a third of the way down the page, in an X.
here, let me
thing.
let me see if I can play that. Let me. Da, 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 da. Yeah, it's the thing that's really interesting about the Taylor Swift, phenomenon, is that people really want to be part of it, and
Yeah.
I can see that they're all like terribly disappointed by this. Here we go. It's here's the X one. Let me see if I can.
Oh, this one doesn't sound haunting.
That's pretty funny. I can't tell which song they're doing.
Oh, I have no idea. But there was another video that I heard where it just sounded very haunting.
Let's see. There's chalk messages in front of the stadium, and I'm looking for another one. This one says that a church in Vienna played Taylor Swift songs the day of the canceled concert, and had people gather in their church. Although I have to say, I did kind of wish that they were playing it on the pipe organ.
Rather than just recordings.
Yeah. Because that's what I was picturing. I'm like,
Yeah.
play it on the pipe organ. That would be awesome.
Right.
Here's another one. Let me see.
You can hear the words in this one.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'm glad that they still, manage to observe their fandom.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Where are we, Sean? You want to say something?
Sure. Let's see. This has been making the rounds on my Facebook page because I know a lot of horror fans. For $1.2 million, which incidentally is what our 925 square foot house is worth, according to this, you can get a house that's 2.5 times bigger than this one. And it has the added novelty of being the house that was featured in the movie Poltergeist. It still looks largely
yeah.
the same on the inside. It's, they haven't, and this is the first time it's been on the market since the movie came out. And so it largely sort of matches the interior. Of course, they didn't do a ton of interior shots in the house. They built one on a soundstage. But I will mention The kitchen here looks about the same. You can see the dining room and the counters and stuff, where of course they had creepy chair stacking and all that kind of stuff. There is no scary tree out the window, but they do have the swimming pool is built. So unlike the film where the swimming pool wasn't done yet, they seem to have gotten rid of all the pesky skeletons and have built the swimming pool out. But if you want to live in Simi Valley on Roxbury Street and you have $1.2 million and you want a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house that's almost 2,400 square feet, this is it. You can have a piece of movie history. And not too bad. It's a perfectly lovely house. Looks like it's got a lot of space. I used to live in Simi Valley, and the blueprints are up there. So it'll be interesting to see how it sells, what it sells for. But yeah, if you're a movie buff and you're looking for a new place to live and you got some money to burn, you can have the Poltergeist house.
Nice.
Jeff?
Yeah. The stupid. There it goes. My computer's really getting slow tonight. I don't know what the deal is. So there, D23, they had the cast of Daredevil Born Again there. They showed a trailer which has not gone to the internet yet. It was only for the people there. So that has been, of course, sent to the internet, and people have talked about what you see in the thing, and the fact that the characters of the Punisher will be back, Bullseye will be back, and Kingpin, and then Foggy Nelson and Karen will be there. But they're adding there's like a couple of the trailer with villainous characters coming in, like White Tiger and Muse. I think 2 characters that are coming in that are more villains. But the thing is, apparently they're going to give much more comic for some of the other characters. That is, they're going to give them more comic book accurate comics or costumes. So at least what has been reported. I haven't been able to see a darn trailer yet, but that's what I hear. So I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
That was I'll put the link to that so people can go look at whatever the heck it is I'm talking about.
Cool. So there was
chat so they can see it. Yeah.
There was an unfortunate incident. I don't know how long ago at Disney Springs in Florida, where a couple went into the restaurant. It was an Irish restaurant called Raglan Road Irish Pub. It's part of the Walt Disney World Resort, but it's not owned or operated by Disney. They were guaranteed by the waiter several times that the food could be made allergen free. And so she ordered items that didn't have allergen free flags, but the waiter told them several times it was allergen free. She went shopping in some of the nearby shops and died from anaphylactic shock to elevated levels of dairy and nuts, which she was allergic to. And now her husband is filed suit against Disney World for $50,000 for wrongful death, etc. And the Disney lawyers have said that they want it thrown out of court and sent to arbitration because he signed up for a trial of Disney Plus about 3 years prior. He signed up for a 1-month trial. And when you sign up for a 1-month trial of Disney Plus, you agree to arbitrate all disputes with the company. He also bought tickets to Epcot Center, which has the same
Right. That's the one that I could see them maybe pushing.
What, the Disney Plus one?
No, the
That
Disney
is
Plus one is BS.
Yeah.
wild.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's bogus.
And
Garbage.
the guy was a physician, I think. He couldn't do anything to save his wife. They tried like an EpiPen and stuff like that. They got her to the hospital, and she passed away at the hospital, which is a pretty terrible situation. It's weird that it took him a while to formulate this lawsuit, and it's like, so I'm like, I feel kind of squidgy from every direction on it, and he's going after Disney, not the restaurant, because it's like he kind of looked at it and went, "Who has the most money? We're going there."
Totally. People do that all the
so
time.
that's got a bad taste in my mouth, and I'm not holding Disney harmless, and I haven't taken a side on this issue at all, but just the whole thing's not going to go well at all, and I feel for the guy. I feel really terrible for him, but I feel like he should have maybe chosen a different target instead of the guys with the most money and the guys with the most lawyers.
Yeah.
Dealing with the restaurant who actually sort of made the mistake. This would have seemed better. He seems to be only asking for about $50,000, which doesn't really seem like a lot to me, which is weird too.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of like things that are raising flags on this for me, and I feel like he should be taken care of for sure. But I mean, how do you replace your spouse?
Yeah.
I mean, so the whole thing's just it's making my spine crawl.
Right. What do you want to talk about, Sean?
So I don't know if you watched a lot of the D23 trailers, and there were a lot of them. There's like a Toy Story 5 coming, more Percy Jackson, Lion King 2, Mufasa, Agatha All Along, Snow White, and things like that. And a lot of them are really good, and I encourage you to go and check them out. And if you can check out the coverage from D23, like Agatha All Along, there's a song that has sort of plot throughput through the entire series, and they got the actors and actresses to come out and sing it, which were really great. So like Deborah Jo Rupp did it, and Patti LuPone's in the cast, and what's her name from
That 70s
Aubrey?
show?
no, not that 70s show.
Parks and Rec?
Yeah, Parks and Rec. Aubrey
Aubrey
Plaza.
Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza?
Yeah, whom
There is a woman from that 70s show in it.
I didn't really. That's Deborah Jo Rupp.
Yeah.
And I mean, so it looks pretty great, and that was pretty cool. But the one that really stood out to me was Skeleton Crew, and Skeleton Crew is Jude Law in a Star Wars series that is very much aimed at kids. So don't know that going in. It's got a very Goonies kind of vibe where these kids sort of set off to have an adventure. It's very specific, and the kids are very much from suburbia. Jeff and I were talking about how weird it is to see, like, basically the E.T. neighborhood in a Star Wars project, because they all have
it was just too much like Earth.
Right? It was like they sort of spaced up the Edward Scissorhands neighborhood. It was really bizarre. But the thing that really, really stood out for me is that there are kind of a couple of nods to Captain EO in there. One is a droid that kind of looks like sort of Captain EO level technology. One of them is one of the main cast members who is a little sort of elephantine girl who looks like a younger version of Hooter, who was part of Captain EO's crew.
Yeah, totally.
Crew, and then in a cage as a pet is Fuzzball, the little fluffy cat-like thing with butterfly wings and a tail that would fly out of the screen in 3D at you and sit on Michael Jackson's shoulder and all that kind of thing. And so like, I never really thought about trying to tie Captain EO into the Star Wars universe, but it being a George Lucas production kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. And of all of the things that I've seen about Skeleton Crew, that's the thing that has caught my attention. That said, though, we did something with the lead actress, and she's amazing. She's super talented and a really great kid. And I want it to be successful just for her. because she's really awesome.
So,
Yeah.
when you talked about Agatha all along,
Yeah.
did you mention Emma Caulfield?
I did not, but she was in there
She
too,
was Anya
which was
in
really cool.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, and there's some really
She's
good
only in
people
one
in
episode
this.
though, so
So,
it makes sense that she's not.
yeah, and I don't know if she was in the D23 presentation. She might have been.
Not sure. I just looked on him.
But Deborah Jo Rupp was really funny because she didn't like really sing. She only came in for the chorus or something. And so she was doing the Louis
She's also
Anderson thing where she was like tilting her head as they were singing. Which was
She's
really
also
funny.
only in one episode.
Yeah.
But
Gotcha.
Catherine Hahn, Patti LuPone, Aubrey Plaza, Paul Edelstein, Sashir Zamata, Joe Locke, Ali On, and Okui Okpakwasili.
The thing you have to
all
bear in
9
mind
episodes.
about this, even though it says like somebody's in one episode, we won't know till the show airs, because
That's true.
they may just be listed as being in the pilot, in the first episode, because nobody knows. And so, I mean, it makes sense to take Catherine Hahn and go, she's in all of them,
Right.
because she's Catherine Hahn, or like Patti LuPone is like a major star, and so
Yeah.
saying that she's in all of them is a pretty good guess that they could always roll back.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we don't know for sure.
Jeff, got another quick one?
Yes. Yeah. It is really quick, actually. I don't know what Hoppers is. It looks like it's a new Pixar film coming out that has to do with a young girl who puts her mind into a robot beaver to infiltrate the animal kingdom. That's coming out. But the one that I was interested in more along the lines is that Frozen #3. That's going to be has a date they set a release date for that, which is November 24th, 2027.
Cool.
Hoppers is March 6th, 2026.
Awesome.
And I wonder what they're going to do with it. They haven't really said really what the plan is for the third one. I'm hoping it's an origin to, to one of the other characters, but it doesn't even look like he's even signed on for it. So,
Sean,
Kinda
you want
odd.
to finish up and wrap us out?
Yeah, I think the only real thing that I had teased was that James Cameron is being super secretive about a Terminator 7 script, which he is writing. He says it's totally classified. I don't want to have to send out a potentially dangerous robotic agent if you were to talk about
yeah,
it.
exactly.
And he's also kind of interested in the Terminator Zero series that's coming up from Netflix, but I don't think it's going to really affect his project at all.
Yeah.
And he's basically he's taken the George Lucas approach. Someone else is playing in his universe, and it has no bearing on what he's doing. So, which is perfectly okay. So, I mean, having Cameron back into the Terminator universe means that it could be better than some of the recent offerings we've had for
Water on
Terminator.
Mars.
So, and Colleen mentions that we had they have apparently discovered a fair amount of water on Mars, which is like a major stepping stone to actually colonizing Mars. So we'll have to see what they have to say about that. It's like, I think it's theorized right now, and gosh, I can't even find it in our document. Like,
I highlighted it.
I know, and I can't find it. So.
Oh yeah.
See under science? Science?
Oh, there it is. Holy cow.
Science.
Highlighted it in blue.
Water on Mars.
Sorry, I was looking for it, and it just wasn't coming up as I scrolled back and forth. That happens. Anyway, so the Insight lander apparently has had this analysis, and the way the earthquakes are being recorded are basically intimating that there's liquid water under the surface, the way everything's moving. So, kind of interesting stuff. And we'll have to see. I'm sure Elon Musk is vibrating and ready to send people to Mars right now, because he's in the process of ruining this planet. So let's go
and
for
he's
it.
getting sued for cyberbullying.
Yeah, as he should. As he
J.K.
should.
Rowling and Elon Musk are named in a cyberbullying lawsuit filed by Emain Khalif after the Olympic win. So,
Yeah.
go Emain.
Yeah, I'm down
Yeah,
for
totally.
that.
Yeah.
All right. Gosh, that's it for us. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Kit for doing all our hard work on the show during the week. She does our social media over on Docking Bay 94 on Facebook. So if you're not following that page, you might want to, because these stories and more get posted over there, and lots of jokes and memes and things that she finds amusing. It's all her, and she does it well. As far as us, we will be back next week, of course. I will be on the air tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. to wrap out Good Morning Tatooine. So join us there at sci-fi.radio for your morning dose of weirdness from me. And then, of course, you can go to sci-fi.radio 24/7. We're always playing music. We always got something cool going on. So check in for that. And we'll be back again next week to do this all again.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
This is Jeff Soledado.
I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby. As always, may the
Force
Force
be
be
with
with you.
Be with you.
We'll see you guys on the video next week.